Hey guys, it's Tomatoda, and in 2 weeks it is Setsucon. I will be attending the Artist Alley, so I thought I would share with you guys my whole setup and the process. Disclaimer, I am a newbie. I've only done Setsucon in 2019 and the beginning of 2020, but I thought it would be nice to kind of show you guys as a newbie, and maybe you can get some useful information out of this, hopefully. To begin, let me show you guys my very first setup. Although my setup wasn't terrible, I did make a few mistakes, or rather regrettable decisions. So let me go over those. First is my banner. It was actually hung below my table over here, but when people came up to the booth, no one could see it, of course. So last minute, I decided to hang it up. But by hanging it up, it kind of hid away my displays. That was obviously no good. And then the next mistake I made were these little cubicles. I thought it would be cute to have each cubicle holding a bunch of stuff inside, like a little display store, but it ended up looking really dark and shadowy, and it got kind of I guess it looked very complicated. Like sometimes when I go to a Forever 21 store and I see a bunch of shit, I just get so overwhelmed. I don't even go in, I just walk out. I personally feel like that's the vibe that it gave, because there were actually a good amount of people who came up to my booth, but they just kind of ignored the cubicles. They just looked at the flat panels at the top and the displays on the table. Which actually, maybe because it was successful, but those were my favorite points of my setup. I really liked showing my creations on this flat display here. And the first time I used poster board because I was on a budget. So I just, cut it up into squares and then hooked all my charms onto it. But it worked. Another thing that I really liked is having a mirror here. I originally had it so if people wanted to try on the scarves, then they can see what it looks like on them. But it also kind of made people stop at my booth to fix their cosplays, and they ended up glancing at my booth as well. Whether they bought something or not, I think it was still a good idea to kind of make your shop stick out. I also liked leaving this empty space on my table to do transactions. And if you're wondering how I did on my first convention, I actually ended up breaking even. Or making even? What's the right phrase? I made back the money that I spent on the con, basically. Which honestly for me, I considered it a very big success, because my first time at Setsucon was in 2018. I just wanted to scope around and see the vibe of the place, because I was kind of nervous about doing Artist Alley. But luckily, that first time, there was an Artist Alley 101 panel hosted by Dag Neo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. But she gave so many helpful tips and planning and stuff like that. It gave me the balls to actually apply. And one of the things she did say is don't expect to make a lot of profit your first time, because it is a learning experience, which I kind of agree. My first time, although I deem it successful, it could have gone better. And then the second time, because I knew better, it went a lot better. She also said that each convention has a different audience. So the more you do a specific con, you're gonna probably do better because you're gonna know what to target, if that makes sense. And then this was my setup for the second year. As you can see, I revamped everything. I commissioned Hello Silly Friends on Instagram to make me my shop panel that I wanted to use as my shop name. I printed it on a canvas. I had it printed at Walmart. I also got rid of all the cubicles and made sure that everything was seen easily. I switched out the paper panels for these corkboard panels, and I just kept the display as simple as possible that year. I also realized that I liked having my items displayed above because more people can look at it from afar. I just think it helps. I also kept the mirror, and I had less scarves on display. Overall, I was very happy with this display, but the one con that I did have is the pricing. So I had these thumbtacks and they had numbers on them, and they were supposed to represent, like if it said one, it was $1, if it said two, it was $2. And I thought people would kind of get it, or even if they don't, if they see all the different numbers, they would ask me, hey, what are these numbers for? And then I tell them, but nobody asked and nobody really got it. So I kept having people asking me for the price, which, you know, it's totally fine. But I think next time, or this time, I want to be a little bit more clear on the price. And in terms of profit, how did I do? I actually made twice the amount that I did before. So I said it was about 400, then I made about 800 the second year. So that was great. You know, I'm very happy to see the progression. And I feel really blessed to have Setsucon as my first convention experience, because I've heard a lot of nightmare stories about different conventions. So I was a little worried, but the staff was very accommodating to the artists and the vendors, and they were just so nice, and it was just well organized. I personally enjoyed it a lot. And because I had such a great experience the first 2 times, it gave me the courage to apply to other conventions. So in case you're wondering, I will be at the Louisville Comic Con and also Anime St. Louis this year. I'll also be recording maybe the St. Louis one just to share with you guys my experience at a different convention. We'll see. And now I'm actually going to be building up my setup. So today is Monday, January 17th. The convention is on the 29th and 30th, but they give you the 28th to actually set up. And we will be flying in on the 28th. So that gives me about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. But that's because the Artist Alley 101 panel that Dagnio had, she recommended that you give yourself at least 2 weeks to work on your setup. And at first I was like, that's a fucking long time. Do I really need 2 weeks? But yeah, my first time I really needed 2 weeks. Like that was like just perfect enough, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I thought I would just set up, stick everything, boom, bam, done. But that was not the case. It was a mess. So give yourself 2 weeks your first time. The second time, I don't remember how long it took. Maybe it took me 1 week, but it's good to give yourself 2 weeks. So I'm giving myself about 2 weeks. 2. I'm flying to Setsucon because I no longer live in Pennsylvania, which means that I'm gonna be limited in what I take. Previously, we drove since it was only like 45 minutes away. I hope this works out. I'm gonna be taking 2 suitcases because my husband's going with me. We could pay for 2 check-in bags? Yes, 2 check-in bags. 2 is a number that's coming up pretty often in this video. Sesame Street! Today's number is 2. Of course, there's also a weight limit, but I'm gonna figure that stuff out later. I'm just gonna go ahead with my setup and then pack everything, and hopefully it fits, and hopefully it doesn't go over the weight limit. So one of my main focus is how to set it up really quickly and how to tear it down really quickly, because my first time I planned it so it sets up quickly, but tearing down was a mess. First, I'm gonna wanna lay down my tablecloth. Some conventions, they will provide a skirt for your table, and some conventions won't. You'll have to read which ones do and which ones don't. Setsucon does not, and I did not know about it my first time. So we quickly drove to Walmart that night and then bought a tablecloth. I highly recommend you have one because it just makes your setup look nicer, and on top of that, you can hide shit underneath your table and no one's gonna like crawl in there and touch your feet maybe. The tables are typically 6 foot long because the other 2 conventions that I have coming up, they also stated that their tables were 6 feet long. I forgot the width, but it's a table, like I guess a beer pong table. Just think of it like that. Oh yeah, y'all like my home fit? All right. Once that's laid out, I'm gonna start building my setup. I like to use these squares. I don't know what they're called, but I got them on Amazon. They also sell them at Walmart, I think. But I highly recommend using these. I don't know how many I'm going to need, to be honest. So we'll count it after I finish my setup. part, I made it into a little cubicle. Now I'm going to build the same thing, but on the opposite side, of course, like flipped over image. Here's the second one. Now, of course, you don't have to have this like overhead thing. You can just have these two columns. But I like to have it overhead, like I said, because it helps people to see things. And also, I like this little like window here because it makes me feel like a shop, like a store, and like, hello, welcome to my store. All right, this is my shop sign. So I bought these little hooks on AliExpress. It has this thing here, so I can like just hook it on. Very nice. These are the corkboards that I showed you guys earlier. It's just thin corkboard. They came in a pack of, I don't know, forget about that. It's from Walmart. I don't know how much they were. I don't know how many they came with. But I also bought these gigantic eyelets, which I think I also got them at Walmart. And I just forcefully hammered it in. And what I did is I zip tied the corners onto the grids. This year I'm going to do something a little bit different because wanting to do a faster setup. So I have this idea. I bought an 8-pack canvas. The canvases are 12 by 12 because the square metal grids are 13 inches by 13 inches. So it's a good size. And my idea was I would use this instead of the cork board so that I don't have to take off the charms. There's a little, you know, like space in here, right? I can just layer it on like this and keep most of the charms in here. So when I set up, I just hook them on. There's a gap in here, if you can see. And I was gonna cut it or shape it so that this cork board can fit in there, giving it more support for the push pins. I'm going to first cut off an inch and then 1 inch over here. And then I'm going to cut the corners and I'm gonna take my canvas. I'm gonna shove it in like this first. So the 3 sides are inserted in. And then this side is unfortunately going to break, but it has to go in, so yeah, it's gonna break like that. Oh no! You know, when I'm on camera, I get a little bit reckless because I can't think. Either way. Here we go. Here's the canvas. It went in. Now what I'm going to do is, because these don't have hooks and I need to hook them on, I'm going to use these command hooks. I'm going to attach it to the center. I'm going to attach the hook upside down because this is right side up, but I want it to latch on this way and then let it sit for an hour because apparently you're supposed to. Oh, you know what? Stupid. It's going to end up like this. Maybe this won't be too bad either. We'll see if it survives. I'm gonna take some extra hooks just in case. So it's only like 1:15 and I'm already fucking exhausted. What I have are these 2 boxes. It's where I store most of my products. I got them at Michael's and they're kind of expensive, but when I recently went to Michael's, they had them for like $14–15. The best thing is none of my shit has actually broken inside of here. It's managed to keep everything safe, so I don't have a lot of worries. I have to decide how I want to split them among 6 panels. I'll put these on panels, maybe, yes, I don't know. You know, like I really don't know where to start right now. Never mind, I thought I should start with the panels, but changing my mind. I'm just gonna start with whatever I'm vibing with at the moment. So I bought new things to display shit on. Got them at Michael's, of course, and I got them on a sale, like buy one, get one 50% off, or a coupon, or whatever I can find cheaper. I'm gonna start with this, just somewhere. Next, I'm going to do bracelets and hair ties because I don't have that many hair ties or bracelets. It is almost 4 o'clock now and a lot has happened. I hooked charms onto the canvas. This one, I'm gonna like print out some labels to show the prices because it's gonna be like group priced. However, these are not all the same prices. I'm gonna do what I did last year with writing the numbers on here, but this time I'm going to make like a notice here like saying, hey, the numbers on the hearts represent the dollar and the amount it is. So, oh shit. You know what? The hook is on the bottom. It's upside down. I have to redo this. I am stupid. It's okay. Gosh, fucking shit. One thing that I was a little bit worried about was the push pin thing works, however the spikes go through. Say for instance, I layered it like this, that the spikes would poke it. However, because of this hook that separates it, I don't think you can really see it, but I can tell it's not poking it. Phew, thank goodness. Also, another thing that I'm a little worried about is when I put it into my luggage bag, worried that if I shake it around, it's gonna come off. Certain ones will come off, and then certain ones won't come off. So depending on that, I'm gonna have to arrange my shit. The canvases, there is one problem. They're kind of sagging, but today being the first day, it has been very, very productive. So yeah, I'll be back in 2 days. Today is Wednesday, and I had this issue with the back of the canvases because some areas here, they like flop. So when I had the hook on, it flopped. What I ended up doing was I flipped the flap open and then I attached another command strip inside in between, and that seems to like hold it very well. As you can see, it's not flopping over. And then I found a bunch of these signs that I used in the last convention. What I did is I got this pack of cute papers at Michael's. It was on sale for $5 at the time, so I just bought it because I have a problem. But some of the sheets look like this, so they have like word bubbles. So I bought this hand lamination thing and it laminates without the heating machine. And the reason why I laminate them is because I have really bad handwriting. It takes me multiple times to try to get it like decent. But thankfully, if it looks really ugly, I can just take a wet wipe and just erase everything. And by the way, I used Expo marker to draw on it. And then I'm going to stick them on the canvas using double-sided tape. And I think basically my setup would be done. I put this piece of paper here to just kind of block what's going to be inside of this cubicle. I took a sheet of address labels and then I used them to write the prices. I did the same over here for these hair ties. I cut them in half and then wrote the prices because I don't have the actual stickers. I'm gonna have to put a piece of paper on the inside here so people don't see behind the cubicle because it's gonna get a little bit messy. It is time for me to record my inventory. Now, I don't know if this is necessary or not, but it's something that I like to do. I have it panel 1, and then I have each item listed, and I have the price for each one and the quantity. And AOD stands for all on display. Then I don't have to actually look in my inventory to see if there's like more or anything. And then these zeros are the numbers of the quantity. So every time I sell one, I can just mark it out. And then the stuff that's not all on display, I organize them into these. I used a piece of clear tape and I folded the bottom so I can just like rip it off when I'm done. But I pasted that there so I can write the numbers. So this is panel 1. Now if I need to replace anything, I can just take out panel 1. This one is like panel 2 and 3. You know what? This is panel 2, 3, and 4. And then while I went to print my catalog or inventory paper, I also printed these out. Now I have to cut them up and then fold them and then insert it into the little packets. So when people order, because you know my charms are kind of small, I can just insert it in here, seal it off, and then this is their purchase. For bigger purchases, I have bigger packaging. In this cubicle, I have my list, and then I have this little notebook, which is where I'm going to write the sales that I made, because you want to keep a record for tax purposes. Also, like the specific tax stuff or like license permits that you need, don't ask me about it. It's different for each state. Here I have the square reader, which is what I use for card purchases. And in this one, I have pens, the expo markers, tape, and then on this side, and I forgot, but I also have these plastic bags. Here are the things I showed you guys earlier. I have this. It holds like findings, any extra hooks that I need, any extra like tape that I need, earring backings, just backup supplies. These are my business cards. And then in here, I have some pliers, cutters, Gorilla Glue, this thing. If I can think of more things that I need, I'll add them into here. This is as good as it's gonna get. The last thing that's left to do is the packing, but I'm going to leave this here over the weekend just to see how it holds up. I mean, so far so good. I'll see you. Today is Monday, and some of the panels I've noticed kind of like it sways around. So what I ended up doing was adding an extra hook onto the corner that, like, you know, it tends to swing around. But I only did it for this one and this one because the other ones don't seem to have that problem. But besides that, everything held up over the weekend very well. And I also made sure to take pictures of each panel individually. So when I set up, if anything is like moved or not there, I know what it originally looked like. And also I can send it to my husband who's gonna help me set up. So he also visually knows what I want. All right, I'm going to put the canvases in first. So this one is the most problematic canvas that I have because everything just falls off when I shake it. I'm thinking about tying it up in a plastic bag. All right, I did it. Hopefully nothing really falls out too much. Let's just do it like this. Then I'm gonna just put them in. Okay, so it won't go all the way down and I don't want to force it. I'm gonna actually fill this up with the scarves. Okay, there we go, perfect. I'll add this on top. I'm gonna put the hats in there. Bueno. I'm going to cut these rings in here to separate them by size. Oh, this is quite heavy for me. I expected to work on the packing and tearing down for at least 2 days, but I think I can finish it just in 1 day. And I'm gonna save this space here for my personal belongings, such as like my skincare and makeup, because it's liquid and I don't have them in travel size. But here's basically one bag done. Now I just have this left. I'm going to break down the metal grids and stack them in. First, I'm gonna cushion the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna move some stuff from the other suitcase into here so that I can fit this here somehow. Yes! And then for here, I'm going to close it. Here are my 2 bags. They're ready, and the only thing I need to do is pack my personal belongings. Then I'm ready to go on Friday. Okay, I lied. There's a few more things I have to pack. Receipt book. I think I got this at the dollar store or maybe Walmart. Honestly, I have not used it because nobody wants a receipt or nobody has asked for a receipt, but just in case they would like one, And then I have 2 fanny packs, one for my husband, one for me, to keep our coins and our cash in here. You know, you gotta be safe and make sure nobody takes it. Another thing I kind of want to touch on is taxes. You do have to pay the taxes in one way or another, so just keep that in mind when you price items and when you sell stuff. January 28th. Friday morning, we flew American Airlines, and both of my check-in bags were actually under the 50-pound weight limit. The small one was like 25 pounds and the bigger one was like 36 pounds. But there was a delay with our connecting flight due to a snowstorm, so we were scared that the flight was gonna get canceled. But luckily, after 2 to 3 hours, it was good to go. We did arrive at the convention a little bit later than I hoped, but we got there safe and sound, and I realized that I didn't have a tripod, so I had to work with what I could, and I'm sorry about the weird angles. This year, the exhibit hall was downstairs in a bigger space, and our booth was at the end of the room, but I mean, Setsucon is a small enough convention where being at the end of the room or in a weird location, it doesn't really affect the traffic too much, so I didn't mind. And also, I got to be next to some sick-ass looking cars. Another thing that I want to mention is to attend the convention at all, you must wear a mask and you have to be vaccinated. I know that probably limits the amount of people who are going to come to the convention, but considering that, there are still quite a bit of people. And overall, setting up took me about an hour and 30 minutes, which I was originally disappointed because I hoped I could do it within an hour. But as I was talking to some of the other artists, they were telling me that an hour and a half is actually pretty fast to normal. So I was like, okay, I'll accept this. Anyways, I actually don't have a lot of footage taken during the convention because I didn't want to make people feel uncomfortable, but here are some pictures I took with permission. Now on Sunday, I was a little bit worried because some of my friends at Setsucon, they brought us gifts, and I mean, I definitely appreciate it and I like love them, but I was kind of worried about like how the fuck I was gonna pack everything. However, I found out, I wish I knew this sooner, you can actually bring 2 carry-on bags and 2 personal items on the plane. So this whole time, I thought personal items meant like a neck pillow or a small purse or an extra jacket. I didn't know it could be like a whole ass fucking tote. So these Daiso tote bags that I also got as gifts came in clutch. And although on Sunday the convention ends at 3 p.m., we had to start tearing down at 2 p.m. to be able to catch our flight. And while we were tearing down, you can see that I made some last minute sales as well. Not gonna complain about that. Love it. But the whole teardown sessions went super duper well because it only took me about 30 minutes to pack everything. And then I spent like another 20 minutes saying bye to everybody. And I had a great time. Hey. So today is Monday, and in the morning, I got braces. If you're curious how much I made the same as January 2020. If I was living in State College, Pennsylvania, I would have made profit. However, because we flew in, we just broke even. But it was a super fun time, and I had a lot of fun meeting people too. So for me, it was great. One thing I'm gonna do next time about this is I'm going to package them in individual small baggies, and I think that's also part of what took so long to set up. Same thing for this. I really liked it though. It worked really well, and I might get another one, but you know, when you open it, it's all messed up. However, just for the con and organizing, I'm glad I got this. I just wish this wasn't glass because it makes me kind of nervous that it's gonna break. These are gifts that I got. Things fell off, but I can just find them, reorganize them. I forgot to take a picture of my booth after I sold stuff, but this one is intact, so it starts looking bare. And you know, like, it got some markings, but I'm gonna use it like this for a while, and then if it gets really bad, I can just paint over it and have like maybe even pink or something. That would be cute, actually. And there's holes, but if you paint over it, no one's gonna see them. Another thing is I packed it in thinking that these would, you know, hold up, but they actually broke. Yeah, I mean, this one was okay during the con. It was not like this. It just broke right now. So what I'm gonna do is just like remove it and then replace it. And even though I had this sign, not everybody really read it because I still had people asking me. There are some people who actually got it, but I think just because there's so much at my booth and little tiny things to see, people were maybe a little bit overwhelmed. And this thing, it worked out really well. I can just put everything like this. The only problem was the shape was so awkward. It didn't like fit like a box. So I struggled a bit with it. Here's my, oh no! Okay, well, I got this at the dollar store, so it's not like it's expensive. However, dangerous! And as you can see, this box, not broken, oh, it's dirty, but not broken anywhere. All the contents inside are intact. This thing is just so amazing. You have no idea. Or maybe you have an idea now. And that is it. That's the conclusion to this whole journey. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!